Do you think science can ever meet what consciousness truly is?
Science talks to us about how this whole universe came about, either through a Big Bang, the evolution theory. If science says it was caused by a Big Bang, the simple question is, who created the Big Bang? What brought me to Earth? It cannot just be a chemical blast.
How much control do we actually even have? Is everything predestined?
There is an opportunity called free will. And this free will gives us a chance to create new karma. Your present actions are completely in your hands. Nothing is happening by chance.
Today, I have an extraordinary guest joining us. AiR has had mind-blowing conversations with influential celebrities, including the cinematic visionary Karan Johar, legendary actor Anupam Kher, musical prodigy Shankar Mahadevan, Kailash Kher, and Malaika Arora. Personally, as an actor and musician, there was always this lingering question. Is this all there is? Now, if you've ever had this curiosity about what lies beyond the material, this conversation is for you. Get ready to journey into the unknown and to walk away with a completely new understanding of life itself. Thank you, AiR, for coming on the show.
Thank you, Aryan. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you for getting me along.
You know, right off the bat, I wanted to dive into Vedantic philosophy, specifically Advaita Vedanta. You know, I wanted to know, according to you, what you feel are the key differences and also the comparisons between the conceptualization of the creation of this universe according to Vedanta and according to the scientific theories such as the Big Bang Theory.
Science talks to us about how this whole universe came about, either through a Big Bang, or they even talk about the evolution theory and things like that. But to me, I only talk of the truth.
Okay.
When I say the truth, what we can see, we cannot imagine what happened millions of years ago or billions of years ago. No doubt, scientifically, they will look at some fossils and they will tell you that this dinosaur was there so many million years ago. That's fine.
Yeah.
But when you talk of the evolution of this universe, if science says it was caused by a Big Bang, the simple question is, who created the Big Bang?
Yeah.
If there was a Big Bang, the Big Bang has to have some background to it, some source. And it's that source, according to me, according to Vedanta. Vedanta doesn't try to define. To Vedanta, Brahman is a power. It's nameless, formless, beginningless, endless, birthless, deathless.
But then at the same time, I've known a lot of people have this opinion that why did Brahman even create all of this? Like, why did he create what we perceive as this world?
If I ask you to close your eyes and see me with your nose, can you see me what shirt I'm wearing with your nose?
No.
Why are you not able to see me with your nose?
Because the nose is unable to see.
Nose is not meant to see.
Not meant to see, yes.
The eyes are only meant to see. The nose is meant to smell. We human beings are not here to understand why Brahman did what Brahman did.
Okay.
If we were, how much is the lifespan of a human being? A human being has a lifespan approximately 100 years. The life expectancy may be 70 in India, 50 in Africa, 90 in Japan. But can we live over 100, 200, 300 years? We can't. Therefore, in that limited lifespan that we have, we can only answer two questions. Who am I and why am I here? We cannot ask, why did Brahman make the grass green? Why could it not be red? Why is it that animals do not have an intellect? Why is it that birds don't swim and fish don't fly? No. Our business is to find out about us. Why are we here? What is our purpose of existence? Is there a purpose? Or is life just a circus? You can just be a clown jumping up and down.
Yeah.
Or you can find out, what brought me to Earth? This is the question we can answer. Whether there is a power, if you believe in a power as in the God of a monotheistic religion, if a Christian says Jesus Christ is God, if you come to India, if you talk of Krishna, Rama, Shiva, Ganesha, Devi Ma, if you try to go backwards and try to go to the source, there is a power. And if you say it all happened with the Big Bang, the only thing Vedanta talks about to conclude this is if there is so much intelligence in creation, it cannot just be a chemical blast. If there is intelligence that humans have, the intelligence, for example, the earth hanging nowhere, rotating on its own axis, revolving. How could all this happen with just a big bang? There has to be some intelligence. We don't know who, we don't know what, we don't know where, we can't define. But there is a power that you just started by saying it's SIP. I call it Supreme Immortal Power.
Supreme Immortal Power. Beautiful.
You cannot deny it.
Yeah.
Saying it was all a big bang is only escaping from the reality of life.
Wow. Escaping from the reality of life. That's true, because even, let's just say, it gets proven, because at the end of the day, Big Bang, it's a theory as well. But you're right. What caused the Big Bang? Right? That makes total sense. I also wanted to touch the topic of consciousness, just not only because it's so important about in regards to spirituality, but consciousness studies is getting spread throughout the whole world. I mean, especially in the West, and not just in the department and section of spirituality, but I mean, in scientific terms. You see all these scientists such as Donald Hoffman, they're talking about consciousness studies. They're diving deep into it. And that's where you can call it concern, you could also call it curiosity is that, do you think science can ever meet the explanations and the reasoning behind what consciousness truly is in comparison to what, for example, Advaita Vedanta does?
Science has no option. They have no option but to accept.
Wow.
Let me tell you, the simple fact, if a scientist sees a man alive and he sees a man dead, the man is identical. The weight is exactly the same. If the person has the same eyes, the same hair, the same heart, the same brain, the same kidneys, the same feet, everything is the same. What is the difference? No, you may call it anything. You may call it consciousness, you may call it life, you may call it breath, you may call it prana, you may call it soul, you may call it spirit, you may call it atma, you can call it anything. But there is something that is missing. And science understands the meaning of power. Science understands that if a toy has to work, the toy needs a battery.
Definitely.
So what is the battery inside us? That power inside us that's giving us consciousness, for me to talk, for you to listen, for us to walk, talk, sing, do anything. There is this power. Yeah. And science does not deny this power. Unfortunately, we talk of the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Yeah. But the word consciousness, that's why they call it the hard problem, right? Yeah. The word consciousness in Vedanta, in the Eastern studies, very clearly what you call chitta, what you call consciousness. Oh, it's there. It's in every cell of our existence. If right now my eye is blinking or my toe is moving, whether it's my eye or my toe, the sense of being alive, the consciousness is there.
Yeah, it is.
So it's a matter of time. Okay. Science is definitely studying very hard to understand what is death. If you ask science, what is death? You know what's the answer they'll tell you? They'll tell you it's the end of life. Is that an answer? It's the end of life? No, what is the difference between the dead body and the live body? Question science.
Exactly.
What happened? Why that man died? Yeah. What left that person? What is the difference between... So very often I tease the science people who are in science. I tell them, let's take a car and we dismantle the car, take out the wheels, take out everything, right? Then a mechanic can put back the car and make it run again. Let me take a body and let's do a virtual experiment. Let's take every cell out of this body. Let's take out the skin, let's take out the muscles, and we hang the skeleton. Now put all the scientists back to work. The room is an airtight room. Even air has not left the room. Tell the scientists to put the body back to work. Can they do it?
Not at all. Impossible. They're trying. I mean, but no.
So this is beyond human comprehension. Consciousness comes from the soul. Okay. The soul, S-O-U-L, is a spark of unique life. And that is the power of SIP.
Wow. I also wanted to talk about enlightenment, right? I think there's a Zen saying that says before enlightenment, you chop wood and bring water. And then after enlightenment, you chop wood and bring water. Now that makes me wonder, and I feel like a lot of our viewers are wondering this, what does actually happen according to you after enlightenment?
Actually, people are not looking at the words enlightenment as it simply signifies what it means. The word enlightenment is to bring in light.
Yes.
If you walked into the studio and the lights were switched off, the chances are you would tumble, the table, chair, you would tumble and fall. You switch on the light, you're good. Enlightenment is to switch on the light within. You switch on the light within to realize. You open your real eyes and you realize, I am not this body that I think is me, nor am I the mind and ego that says it's me. I am divine energy. When you start realizing, enlightenment takes you to that point where you question your beginning and you question your end. I've found a very simple way to help people awaken spiritually, to get this state of realization, enlightenment. Terms are different. It's all the same thing. Whether there is self-realization or spiritual awakening or enlightenment. When you try, I always tease people. I said, what's your birth date? Can I ask, when were you born? What day were you born?
November 11th.
February 11th. So people cut a cake because they say, it's my birth date and we got a cake. I tell them your birth date is fake. Because February 11th, you were not born, you arrived. If you ask your mother, February 10th, you were kicking inside her. You were kicking inside her. So when were you conceived in your mother's womb? That was 9 months before. Any doubt about that? Will science agree or science not agree?
Science will agree.
Because they can see through an X-ray and through an MRI, they can see that the two cells becomes a zygote, and the zygote from one cell becomes 2 and 4, and 4 become 8, and then it multiplies, or it divides, and then 25 billion cells are formed. What were you when you were just that first cell? There was no Aryan, there was no body, there was nothing, there was no mind, there was no ego, there was nothing. But you were already born to your mother, conceived to your mother. This is enlightenment. Enlightenment is just going backwards, going back from today to the day you arrived, not your birth date, your arrival date. I call it the arrival day.
Yeah.
Going back 9 months and pausing. What was I? You need contemplation. This knowledge is not enough. Enlightenment is realization. If suppose I tell you, what was I? I was a cell. If you tell everybody, they're not going to get enlightened. Yeah. Enlightenment is realizing, damn it, if I was that, what was I? And if that's not enough, then you take the moment called death. In the moment of death, many people, if you ask anybody on the street, will you die? What's the normal answer?
Eventually we will, yeah.
Eventually we'll die. Anybody will tell you.
Yeah.
I tell people, no, you won't die. Yeah. Your body will die. And people say you passed away. So who passed away? If I was the body, then my family would not burn my body. If I was the body, then how dare you burn me? That's not me anymore. Yeah. It's very simple. If only we realize I am the one that came alive, that spark. 9 months before, there was just a spark of life. And at death, what left was that same spark of life. Enlightenment is realizing I am that spark that came and that went. And that spark is birthless, is deathless. That spark, as long as it's in you and me, it's SOUL, spark of unique life. But the moment it leaves you and me, it becomes one.
Wow, beautifully said. And now that you did talk about birth and death, can you shed some light onto the aspect and topic of reincarnation, especially in context with the subtle body?
So it's very simple. Many people, they ask the question, what is the guarantee that there's reincarnation? Many people want to believe, they want a very cool life, right? We live, we die, have fun. We go, oh, great. Life is just come, have fun and go. The question comes, what happens after we die?
Yes.
And the question comes, why were we born?
Yeah.
And these two are not enough to answer reincarnation.
Okay.
If you want to understand reincarnation, you have to understand this drama and the trauma that's unfolding in this Leela, this divine play as such. The drama of life is unfolding. And we experience trauma. You see somebody falls, somebody gets sick, somebody has an accident. There's lots of things happening.
Yeah.
What is happening is karma.
Okay.
The world today, East and West, the world has agreed to this principle of karma, that nothing is happening by chance. Okay. For example, if you go out to your garden and there are mangoes,
yes,
are the mangoes just appear from nowhere?
No.
Why are the mangoes on the tree? If there are mangoes under the tree, where did this tree come from? It came from the seed.
Yeah.
As you sow, so shall you reap. It's in the Bible.
It is.
Now, when we live our life, does death wait for us to finish all our karma and then die? Does death wait for somebody, finish all your karma, good, bad, settle your account and then you die? Is it like that?
No.
Or does death happen in a moment?
In a moment.
So karma is settled or not settled?
Not settled.
Good.
Yeah.
So keep that aside. Karma is not settled. Next question. Why is somebody born in a slum and somebody born in Buckingham Palace? Is it chance?
I don't think so. It must be some sort of impression from your past life, or
We don't. But then, why is somebody born blind? Somebody born in very kind circumstances? There's something. There is some connection on how we are born.
there has to be, yeah.
And there is also, this gets connected to our unsettled karma. So this is not called proof. But for example, how I explain this to people, if I take a ball and throw it up in the sky, what are the chances it will come down?
It has to.
Why not? Why can't it fly in the sky?
It's the rule of gravity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So is there any proof of gravity?
It just is.
There's no proof.
Yeah.
But by inference, we call this inference. Why do we call this inference? When we throw a ball up, because it comes down, therefore there must be a law, something called gravity, which is pulling it down.
Okay.
Correct?
Makes sense.
So for example, if somebody enters your house, you think he came from heaven? What do you infer? If somebody is coming into your door, then what do you infer? Where is he coming from?
You don't know.
No, but it's obviously coming from
the
out of the street, right?
Yeah,
He's not coming from underground, or he's not coming from the sky. So inference. I'm just using a term inference. So when there is birth, birth is created with a reason. And at death, there is karma unsettled. If you join these three dots, if you join the dots of birth, karma and death, there is no option but to come back in rebirth.
Wow. But then from a Vedantic perspective, how does one manage all these past, actions that they have the effects from? Like, what should we do and react when faced with negative karmic consequences?
So very good. So for example, I am born with negative karma. I have a karmic debt.
Karmic debt.
Yes. Okay? Very good. So here's this innocent guy born with karmic debt. So it's very cruel world, right? I mean, what kind of God, what kind of creator? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
No. When we are born, we have complete, mobile. When you get a mobile, and if you give it to somebody, what you normally do? You do a factory reset.
Yes.
Why do you do a factory reset? Because you want to delete all memory, all camera, all photographs, everything from it.
Yeah.
And the phone is brand new.
Basically.
Correct?
Yeah.
When we come back to earth, we are on a factory reset.
Okay.
We come and we are given a fresh opportunity.
Okay.
Now, with a negative karma, for example, I may have been born with one leg.
Yeah.
But I'm still good to go with an intelligence, with consciousness, with the power of discrimination to choose my present karma.
Okay.
I can still, even with one leg, I can live my life. There are many people who are born with physically challenged, even mentally slightly challenged, but they make their life good.
Yeah.
Therefore, although there is a negative karma with which we are born, there is an opportunity called free will. And this free will gives us a chance to create new karma. What ultimately happens is what I've written a book called Twin Karma.
Okay.
Twin karma means a combination. It's like the Ganga in India. It is a confluence of the Alaknanda and the Bhagirathi. Two rivers get together and becomes the Ganga.
Wow. Okay.
So our old karma, our karma we were born, one karma that we brought to earth, and the other karma we did after our birth. So one karma we brought to earth, one karma after our birth, both merge to become our present karma. And then you continue and you live and you choose. And this decides the future, whether you are going to ultimately get reincarnation or a realization. So life has two opportunities for each one of us. Either we will live and we will die without finding out who am I, or we will live and die, but we will not die. The body will die.
Exactly.
And we will fly.
Yeah, and you touched the topic of free will. So that makes me want to ask about free will and destiny. How much control do we actually even have? Is everything predestined?
So suppose you get out of the house and you sit in your car.
Yeah.
So you have the car, you switch on your car. Any problem, you can go forward, backward, reverse, you can.
You have that
if you want to turn left, you want to turn right,
Definitely.
Great. But what if as you go outside, because of Independence Day, the road is blocked? Today is 14th August. 15th August, you cannot go out. The road is blocked. What can you do? Can you get down and take a gun and shoot all the police people? The road is blocked because the Prime Minister is going to pass. The road is blocked. What are you going to do?
Can't do anything.
You can't do. Karma is like, there are two types of karma.
Okay.
One karma you can't do anything about.
Okay.
Take another instance. If the road is going steep up, can you get out of the car and make the road go down? If the road is a road going up street, like in San Francisco, the road is going, can you change the road?
Not at all.
So that is your karma which you can't change. But the car that you're driving is the karma that you can change, which means the car has a free will. Your driving has a free will. Your present karma, your present actions are completely in your hands.
Okay.
But also let me ask you one more question.
Yes.
If you have a dog in this house, does the dog have a free will? Can the dog tell you, today I'm not eating these bones, I want pizza?
No.
It doesn't have a free will. So who is blessed with a free will?
Humans.
Only human beings. Therefore, the Vedanta says only human beings can get liberation. Enlightenment, a dog can't be enlightened.
Exactly.
Although I met somebody recently who said some Maharishi, he could get a monkey enlightened, he could get a... I am a very practical person. I talk what is understandable. Yeah.
So, we've been touching so many topics that are about self-knowledge. How important do you think is self-knowledge, especially for the younger generation? You see all these days due to social media, there's negative and positive sides of it, right? Social media has also become a way to spread all this information, spiritual knowledge, but at the same time, social media has become a way for all these young people to take in information that might even negatively affect them in the long run, spiritually, materialistically. So how important do you think self-knowledge for the younger generation is?
Self-knowledge is the most important graduation.
Okay.
If there is no graduation in realization, becoming an expert in technology and information is of no use. You may be lawyer, a doctor, you may earn money, but if you don't know who you are, if you don't know the essence of your existence, if you don't know the purpose of why you are here, so therefore you touched two questions. One, the importance of self-knowledge. We can do whatever we want. We can be a scientist. We can be a businessman. It's fine. But we must know, what am I doing and why am I doing? If we don't, because we are not going to do it forever.
Yeah, the what and the why. Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah. One day this journey is going to come to an end. Okay. Then what? Why am I doing what I am doing? We have a glass called life, which is full. Mm-hmm. We have another glass called success, money, which is empty. We take this glass and we pour it into this glass called success, money, and achievement. Mm-hmm. In the end of the day, this glass is full, but the glass of life is empty. Mm-hmm. So life is over and you have this left. What are you going to do with this? Yeah. What you earn, others will burn.
Yeah.
So, self-knowledge. Why are we here? Why did I come to this world? So, did we bring anything with us? Did we bring money? Did we bring cars with us?
We came with nothing.
And when we go, we will take helicopters with us?
We'll go with nothing.
Who doesn't know this?
But they're escaping from that truth.
Everybody knows, but nobody realizes.
Wow. Everybody knows, but nobody realizes. Wow. No, that makes sense. That's true.
Realization. You ask me what is enlightenment. Yeah. Realization is to open your real eyes. Realization. Mm-hmm. Open your real eyes to find out who am I. And you talk of social media. Yeah. Social media is very good if you take the right stuff from social media, because you can reach out to people, you can spread the message. And that's why today spirituality has a boost. Yeah. Because earlier people would tell you, shut up and follow this ritual. Do this super. Today people are saying, no, why? A youngster is asking the question, why should I do this? What's the benefit of doing this?
Yeah, that's true.
Correct?
Yeah, but at the same time, because of social media, even if that spiritual knowledge is getting spread, it's also getting very distorted. So what's your thought on that? Even if, let's just say, like, say hot yoga or whatever, lots of like different aspects of Sanatan Dharam that is being spread to the US and other places in the world, is it, even though it's distorted, do you think it can still bring some benefit or put the people on the right track? Or do you think it's very important for the knowledge of spiritual wisdom to be delivered in its most purest form?
Aryan, how important is the GPS?
Very important.
And how dangerous is the GPS if you put a wrong address into it?
Very dangerous.
Imagine, I was in Australia a few years ago, and I was driving, and some damn nonsense I did. I put the wrong address of the airport.
Oh, okay.
And I'm driving to take an international flight. And it tells me, your destination is on the left. And I look at the left, it's a cemetery.
Oh, God. Okay.
The name of the cemetery and the name of the airport were the same.
Oh, wow.
And it only picked the first word, the name. And it didn't pick the second and third word. Wow. Luckily, I had time to change it. It was another 2 hours distance. And I drove. So what I'm saying is, you need a GPS. And in spirituality, we call it the Guru's powerful signal. A GPS is a global positioning system when you're driving. But if you don't have the right Guru's powerful signal, if you go helter-skelter, if you go in the wrong direction, obviously you'll reach the wrong destination. Yeah. So the direction is very important. For example, people are saying, I want to do yoga. Yeah. You can't do yoga. You have to be in yoga. Yoga is a state of being united. The word yoga comes from the word yuj. Yuj means I am united. Whether it is dhyana yoga or meditation, bhakti yoga or devotion, karma yoga or action, jnana yoga or education. I was blessed with prema yoga, or the yoga of divine love, where you see everybody as a manifestation of the divine. Wow. But the point is, if you do not get the right master, your life is a disaster. Okay. But if you get the right master, you'll get to your destination faster.
Wow, and you just touched the topic of prem yoga, divine love. How does that manifest into spiritual practice?
It's very simple. Prema yoga means the yoga of divine manifestation. Prema yoga is the yoga of love. So generally, since you're talking on the subject, if a person wants enlightenment, if a person wants to be spiritually awakened, it's prescribed that a person should try to live in yoga. Living in yoga means There are two options. Either I can live in bhoga. Bhoga means I want the world, I want food, I want clothes, I want perfumes, I want gadgets. All my time and attention is going into the desire of the material world. This is bhoga. But if I want the truth, I want God, I want liberation, I want bliss, I want peace, I want Satchit Anand. This is the science of trying to be in yoga. Okay. How can you be in yoga? Being in yoga is simply understood. A good SIM card. Suppose I'm calling you from my mobile, from here to here. Yeah. Is my mobile calling you from my mobile to your mobile directly? It's going to the tower. Yeah. In fact, the satellite. The tower to the satellite and then back to the tower and back to you. Correct? We know how the mobile functions. Yep. This is a great example of yoga. Okay. How the mobile SIM card is connecting to the satellite. Imagine you go abroad and you're trying to connect sometimes. What does it tell us? It says searching for network. Yeah. It doesn't connect. Then does the mobile work?
Nope, not at all.
That's an example of bhoga. So when we are not connected, we are in bhoga. But when we are connected, we are in yoga. Connect, yuj. And it's not my words. Yeah. The word yoga comes from the word yuj, which means union. The word yuj means union. How you become a yogi is you are able, through dhyana, meditation, through bhakti, devotion. When I was praying to God, earlier I used to pray to a god, Lord Shiva. For 40 years I prayed to a god. I thought that was God. And then I was in love with God. I was seeking God. I was wanting God. I was crying for God. And the Lord brought that spark, saying, God is not God. God is Sip, a supreme immortal power. When you realize that God is a power and you realize God is in every soul, the soul in you is Sip, the soul in me, the spark of unique life, soul, is the supreme immortal power, just like a wave. Whether it's one wave or the second wave or the third wave or the fourth wave, what are all these four waves? They're all part of the ocean. They come from the ocean, they go back to the ocean. Yeah. So when you're in yoga, you realize that the divine is everywhere. When you realize the divine is everywhere, you see God in all, you're able to love God in all. Okay. When you're able to love God in all, it's prema yoga. So otherwise, can you love God? There's no way of loving God. There's no way of being united with God. But if I see God in you and I love you as a manifestation of God, then this is prema yoga. So if you're loving your beloved, suppose you have a girlfriend or a wife and you love them, in prema yoga, are you loving the skin? You're not loving the skin. Not real love, no. You're loving the divine that is within. Wow. And when you love the divine that is within, through the prema, through the love, through the manifestation, you remain in yoga.
Wow, and that makes me want to talk about liberation, moksha. According to you, what steps should one take or one has to take in order to just come from that state of just merely understanding and knowing to the state of actually being fully realized and in internal bliss?
If you're talking of moksha, there are two. First, let's understand there are two stages. I tell people, please get it into your head that you cannot get enlightened after you are dead. You can only get enlightened when you are alive. But you cannot get moksha when you are alive. So the term moksha is a person gets enlightened and is living in that state of enlightenment. If you're living, as I call, as a Satchit Anand Atma, if you're living as a divine liberated soul, then in the moment when the body dies, there is no rebirth. I will explain that to you. Okay. But the state of enlightenment, I have given 8 stages. There are 8 stages to that spiritual awakening, state of enlightenment. The state, it's called mumukshu. You first become a mumukshu, a lover of God and liberation. You become a jigyasu, you seek it. Then you become a jnani, you have knowledge. Then you become a yogi. Then you become a Buddha, like Gautam Buddha. Buddha means you become awakened. You become awake. That's not the over. After Buddha, you become a sthit pragya. After sthit pragya, you become a jivan mukta. And after Jivan Mukta, you reach the final state called a Sat Chit Anand Atma, which means you are living in bliss. You live completely in truth consciousness. And when you live in that state of truth consciousness, after crossing these 8 stages, in the moment of death, you get moksha. Which means you get liberation and there's no reincarnation. So there are 2 options as per our scriptures. The Kathopisad tells us there are 2 options. Either when there is realization, there can be liberation and unification. If there is no realization, there's reincarnation.
Okay. And I understand everything you're saying, and I totally agree with it. But at the same time, to people that are watching, right, that aren't that deep into some of the topics that we talked about, but they understand that, yes, sometimes people are unconscious, they are ignorant, and they commit acts that in reality, in that moment, will cause anger within you. According to you, even after this spiritual knowledge, let's just say, which a lot of people aren't, they're not enlightened, right? They're not on that state yet. They might have happiness here and there, but they're not in bliss. How can one allow themselves to forgive people that are unconscious and ignorant? Like, for example, if someone kills your family, right? Yeah, technically that can be due to his past life karma or whatever, that he's like that, or because he's just ignorant and unconscious. But how can you actually forgive him?
If you are not awakened, you can't forgive.
Okay.
A person who is not awakened, who is living with the ego, anybody who has ego will have anger, hate, revenge, jealousy, pride, greed, and selfishness. These are the 7 monsters of the ego.
Yeah.
But the moment you are awakened, when the ego that stands I, tall as a wall, as long as that ego is like this, but the minute this I that studied tall has a fall, when I has a fall, then you see the divine in one and all. Because then I am not I. I am not this body that will die. I am not whatever you've done to me or my family. The one who is enlightened lives a life of acceptance, lives a life of surrender. In realization, you understand whatever wrong somebody has done is done. And you accept it joyously as karma unfolding. Nothing in this world is happening without the will of the divine permitting it through the law of karma. Nothing. There can be nothing unfair. So if there are thorns in your garden that are pricking you, why are those thorns pricking you? Because somebody has planted those thorn seeds. Thorns would not come to your garden for nothing. So, but an enlightened person is living in a state of sthit pragya. A sthit pragya means steady intellect. The enlightened person has no mind. The mind, M-I-N-D, misery, ignorance, negativity, and desires, the mind makes us blind. The enlightened person moves from a state of mind to a state of consciousness. In a state of consciousness, his intellect shines. He's in the state of awareness, in the state of mindfulness. He knows. He knows this is a drama. For example, you brought up a situation. How can you tolerate somebody who does something wrong to you? This is what you said. Let me ask you a question. Suppose you were sleeping and I came in your sleep and I cut off your hands. When you woke up in the morning, will you come back and cut my hands? Why would you not come back and cut?
It was a dream.
An enlightened person knows that even this is a dream.
So beautifully said. God, you're touching my heart right now. And that makes me actually want to, we've been talking about such deep topics related to spirituality, but now I want to shift the gears a little bit into practical implications of it. And the best way to talk about it is in the entertainment industry. I'm an actor myself. You see all these actors, directors, writers, singers, whatever it is, they're immersed in the industry that in many ways requires you to be very fake. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all actors, all of us in this world, in this illusionary world. But especially in the entertainment industry, you face a lot of situations where you have to constantly just fake it, right? And I know you actually did a podcast with a lot of these entertainment industry professionals, Karan Johar, Kailash Kher, Anupam Kher. I would like to talk to you about your experience talking to them about these spiritual topics.
Oh, let me tell you, they may be wearing a mask.
Yeah.
They may be wearing a mask, but when it comes down to brass tacks, comes down to reality, they are like you and me. So, for example, if I spoke to Karan Johar himself agreed that life, when you have camera and lights and actions and you're doing a drama and you're doing a storyboard and you're doing that, it's okay. It's a career. It's your business. But you don't feel good about it if you don't understand what the hell is life all about. So even people in the Bollywood industry, they all want to be happy. I told Malaika, what do you want? I asked Malaika, for example, do you know there's a way of eternal happiness? She said, what are you talking about? What the hell are you talking? There's nothing like eternal happiness. We are unhappy all the time. But an enlightened person is not unhappy. An enlightened person reaches a state of Sat Chit Anand, which is truth consciousness, in which there is eternal bliss. Therefore, yes, not only the Bollywood industry is fake. What about the millionaires and the billionaires of this world? Yeah. Everybody is trying to make money. True. You know why? Can I ask you why people are trying to make money?
Because that's the way of the world. You're brought up, you think money's going to bring you happiness one day.
Yeah, because they think money is going to bring you happiness. Yeah. But I'm asking you a question. Are all the rich people happy? So rich people are committing suicide. You can have celebrity chefs. You can have billionaires and millionaires of this world. Happiness has 3 peaks. The first peak is achievement. The second peak is fulfillment. The third peak is enlightenment. If you don't evolve from achievement to fulfillment to enlightenment, I was on the first peak for 25 years. 25 years. Peak, 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 peak. More money, more success, more achievement, more pleasure, more fancy cars. I bought a Mercedes-Benz. Then I used to go to Las Vegas. I was impressed by the limousines. So in India, somebody was selling a limousine. I bought a limousine.
Great.
But was that giving me more happiness?
Doubt it. No.
So then one day, I shut shop. When I was 40, I said, stop it. And then I started living a life of fulfillment, a life of contentment. So achievement gives you pleasure. Fulfillment gives you peace. And then I was blessed to that state of awakening. When you discover the purpose of your life, then you are liberated from all misery and sorrow. That purpose makes you enjoy the circus in a manner that you're happy no matter what. Nothing bothers me. So I don't know whether I drifted away from your question.
No, so beautifully said. I mean, what you just said, the 3 peaks of happiness, I mean, I think that is so true. And it's very hard for people to realize that. But what you just said about 3 peaks of happiness, it's just opening my eyes. So thank you so much. It was truly an honor having this conversation. And I really hope that the people that are watching definitely take away something from this and apply it to their regular lives. So thank you.
Thank you. Interesting questions. I hope it opens the eyes for people to make them realize the truth. The truth is actually available. And unfortunately, the problem is this. It's not that what you and me are talking is absolutely new, but it's not just listening from the ears. Unless we listen and we absorb, I tell people, ask, investigate, then you will realize. So that's the method to do it.
Wow. Sip to you. Thank you.